Good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Welcome once again to a short chat about AI in project management. Today, I'm really pleased to speak to Ricardo, who's a leading light in this area. Ricardo, over to you. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Joy, first for giving me this space to talk about my personal opinions on AI, particularly in project management. About me, just very briefly, I've been all my career working in projects. First, I was working as project manager, and then I have been leading programs, portfolios, and PMOs, and in more than 4 countries around the world, in 4 continents. That's something that I'm very lucky to have been able to have this global exposure, thanks to the companies I've been working for in the past, like Ericsson, Telefonica, and now currently my company that is Microsoft.
I have to mention Microsoft, obviously, just because it will be really, from my perspective, really interesting to see what your take is. I know it's personal opinions, as it were, but interesting to see what your take is with such a corporate giant in this world of software. You know, where is this thing going around AI and project management? So to that end, what do you believe the main use cases are around AI and project management?
Yeah, so very good question. Before deeping dive in the use cases, I would like to start, and I'm going to express my personal opinions. I would like to start with Satya Nadella's quote about AI. That is that basically AI is going to be one of the most fundamental pieces of technology that we have ever created in the history of humankind, because it has the ability to solve some of the toughest challenges. So this gives us a view of the magnitude of this technology. So this is not something trivial. When I talk about technology, I always like to look at 3 different perspectives, 3 different horizons. First is what the AI can do currently with capabilities that we have, the current structure, the current business models that we have. Then I like to look at what AI may do in the future based on the evolution of this technology in the current structure, so with the same business models that we have. But the most important thing is mainly in AI is to think and try to envision how AI is going to transform the structure, the whole business models that we have. And that's where we have to look at, because in project management, AI for project management, I don't know if you agree with me, we are in the first step, in the very preliminary first step, what AI can do. So it's like something that we are starting to work on.
I totally agree, Ricardo. If I just come in quickly here, because for me, I've got a little claim to fame here that I like. So I did a master's way back in the early 90s, and at the time, I talked about something that in terms of the short term, you think it's more capable, and in the longer term, you underestimate the capabilities of it. And my little claim to fame there is that I saw a quote from Bill Gates that had something similar about AI, you know, overestimating in the short term and underestimating in the long term. Is that something that chimes with you?
Yeah, it's there is a lot of expectation, a lot of hype. And that's one of the points that some companies is leaving the interest, because this is not something simple. So this is requires a huge transformation, and there's failure for sure. So when I work in AI use cases, based on multiple factors that we can talk later, failure is something that it normally happens. So you have to be prepared for failure. So this is not magic. So this is not just click and everything is working and magic, I get predictions. So this is very complex. So it's not as easy as we may think now, because based on the generative AI boom that has democratized the use of the artificial intelligence, because now we have it available in our applications, not like in the past that was something more just specifically for the data scientists and roles that are dedicated to this specific area. So now AI is for everybody because we have it already embedded in our applications. But yeah, that's something we can talk later about.
No, and I definitely like your dimensions of sort of time horizons as well. So just coming back to those time horizons, and in particular around AI and project management, I totally agree with your point that it's, you know, it's nascent, it's early days, as it were. But perhaps we can come back to that use case view on those time horizons.
Yeah, because basically right now, even if for project management we are in the preliminary stages, there are other fields that are more advanced. So, for example, we are already working in AI for designing new materials. This is something that is one of the major challenges that we have currently in our world, based on the scarcity of materials. So this is something that can create a major impact for positive, because it's allowing us to design new materials in record time. So there's something that is based on quantum computing, that currently the goal is that I don't know if you have used this DAL-E for generating your image, that you write a prompt and you get an image.
The idea of I haven't, but I am aware of that product. Yeah.
But the idea of the AI for materials is the same, that you say, okay, I want a material with these properties, and then you are going to get it like this using quantum computing. So this is something amazing, because this is something that is a major issue in our world currently. As well, we are working on weather prediction as well for sustainability purpose. So in the past, the physical models were giving better accurate predictions, even if when watching the TV in the weather forecast, many times it's like, okay, again, they did not make the right prediction. But in the past, using machine learning or even neural networks, we were not able to be better in the prediction of the weather. But now there are new technologies that we are now getting better forecasts than the one that they're getting with the physical models, the physical equations. And this is something as well, that is something that is one of the major challenges in our world, is sustainability. And as well, in the health area, we have AI for genomics, that in a way that you use the LLM for ChatGPT, in the same way we're using a kind of LLMs for the genomics, in order to know how for example, the COVID can change in the future, in order to try to be able to have the vaccines before there is alterations in the COVID and change. As well, analysis time of chemical processes is something that is accelerated with AI. Even cancer detection, early detection. So AI in other stages is going much more further, is more advanced than currently the AI for project management. So AI for project management, most of the people is now starting to use ChatGPT is the most famous, and trying to get templates and things like this. It's good. We have to start from the beginning, but don't think that this is just for getting templates or automation. So for sure, we are getting already with embedding of AI in applications a huge increase in the productivity. But this is not just this. This is not just productivity. Predictability as well, as you are working. Prediction for me is one of the most important use cases that we can have in project management, to be able to forecast what is going to happen. So that's something major. But we can go even beyond that, because imagine that quantum computing, the capacity of the computing compared with the current capacity we have now, is going to be multiplied. So where is the limit in this technology?
It's interesting. I mean, obviously, coming from the UK, anything to do with better weather forecasting is really important for us. So you know, the space of prediction, I think, you know, going back to what you said earlier, it's still early days in the world of prediction, and certainly from my point of view, that there's a sort of, you know, how do you make accurate predictions from a technology point of view, but also I think, you know, I think increasingly it will be about, will us as humans or sponsors or decision makers actually accept those predictions and not just go with our hearts in terms of what to do around decisions. Do you have a view on that?
Yeah, because in fact, there's other area that is the autonomous systems that basically is where we work together with the AI, with deep reinforcement learning. And I cannot disclose the use cases I've been working on with my customers, but I was reading recently a use case. It's very similar. It's from the Team New Zealand in the Volvo Ocean race. In the past, what they were doing is using technology for designing the boats for the Volvo Ocean race. What had changed now, that AI is used for training the people. So what we are doing in this kind of autonomous systems with deep reinforcement learning is that based on millions and millions of iterations, the AI is giving you suggestions based on multiple combinations of multiple variables. And at the end, what happens is that discover patterns that we as humans, we are not able to find. Even the best experts in that field, as we have some bias, and we have as well, many times we are very focused on our space. There are some patterns that are not known by us, even if you are the best expert in that field. So what autonomous systems is doing is that based on new patterns, is telling to, in this case, to the Team New Zealand team, to the sailors, okay, in this condition, when this happens, combined with this variable and this, what you have to do is this. And many times in the use cases I've been working as well internally, the experts say, no, I don't think this is useful. This is wrong. But we say, try, and trying. Sometimes we discover that, in fact, there are patterns that nobody thought about them. Yeah. And what we are getting, the prediction suggestion from the AI is the best thing to do. So now we are going one step further, that is work with the AI in order to know how to act based on variables that we never have tried before. Yeah. What to do based on that specific condition.
You said a couple of things in there which really is interesting for me. One, you hinted at that AI could actually take away some of the human bias, whereas we know that depending on the world you're in, that there's claims about bias within AI, but you're actually turning it on its head there in terms of actually using AI to remove bias. And the other thing I think that I heard at the end there that I think is salient is about actually the actions beyond the prediction. How do you make it happen, and encroaching into the human action, as it were? Do you have any, just picking on those 2 points, do you have any further views about that?
Yeah, so that's for giving you a further vision that the prediction is great, but to be able to get these suggestions as well on what you have to do in this combination of human and the AI is something that is very powerful, because we have always this debate about AI is going to replace people or not. There are many events that that is the topic. Okay, project managers are going to disappear. Okay, we have to look farther than that. For sure, there are some things that AI is going to be doing better than us. That is for sure. So what we have to look is where we have to position ourselves in order to work together. And like in this case, okay, let's use AI for getting suggestions of what should I do in this project when I have these conditions based on these variables. And the point here is that I've been talking about materials, that there are multiple millions of combinations, diseases. So I think those areas are more complex than project management, because at the end in project management, we always say there are not projects, not two projects are the same. but we don't have so many variables like in the material world, in the chemical world, in the physical world. Imagine how complex it is to predict the weather. So there are multiple variables. And
yeah.
Project management is not so difficult. We have variables, we have many variables, but we don't have that many. So if we're able to be doing already in these other areas that are more complex, things like this, like getting predictions, suggestions of what you have to do, this is something we should be able to apply as well in project management, because project management is simple than these other fields.
I guess there's two things from my perspective there is I'd certainly agree that depending on the depth of the project, that actually projects are similar. It's when you get down to the nth degree, you know, the micro task level, where the uniqueness in a project comes. So I certainly agree with that. I guess for me, that in terms of your example around the weather, the difference is back to the previous point, which is you can have all of the data in the world, you can have the most accurate prediction, but you can imagine John Smith is just going to ignore that and go, that's my project over there, or that's my decision, or actually politically, you know, I want to keep these people happy. And I think that, for me, you know, going back to your time horizons, for me, that's the time horizon which is really hard to predict, which is how will humans embrace or resist the uptake of data-driven insights, as it were. You know? Yeah. So and I know PMI sort of chime with this, you know, the importance they're placing on power skills, soft skills, for example.
Yeah. In fact, you have mentioned one of the main challenges. I have two main challenges.
Okay.
One from the human perspective, the main challenge is the change aversion, the change management, because at the end, as I was mentioning at the beginning, this is probably the technology that is going to create the biggest impact since the human race we exist. So this is something major. So for sure, we by nature we are averse to change. So imagine when we have something like this. There is a very famous example in Hollywood. There had been a strike going on for months, trying to get regulation on the use of AI. And that's fair, because as well AI should be regulated, so that's fair. But you see, there's many change aversion, because many times we don't know. If you listen, AI is going to replace my work and you're going to be unemployed forever. So come on, for sure, we are humans. Are you going to adopt something that is going to replace you? But this is not the view. So this is not something to replace you. So what we have to do is to reposition ourselves in another dimension where we can make benefit of the AI in order to do our work in a better way.
Do you see, and again, I'm thinking about time horizons here, do you see a watershed moment on the time horizon where and I'm not quite sure what that means sort of physically, as it were, what's the outcome, but also from a time horizon point of view, just when do you see sort of a major shift going to happen, Ricardo? Is it, without putting you on the spot, as it were, you know, because obviously we're speculating about the future there.
Yeah. I think it depends on the industry and the sector, because thanks to my current position, I'm working in consulting, so I work with different industries, customers for different industries. The maturity level is different in each of them. But for example, in health, if you are making use of AI for being able to predict cancer in advance, for sure the adoption is going to be easy, because everybody wants that. What's happening in project management? For me, the main risk in project management is that we think that okay, we're going to be replaced by AI, and that we just remain focused on using ChatGPT for generating templates. So that's not AI. So it's AI, but that's not the main goal of AI. So this is the first step. So we have to have a north vision, so this future where we want to go. Why do we want to go? what is the purpose of adopting this technology? Not just using technology because everybody is using it, because at the end that's going to bring you the motivation because you are going to fail and you're going to say, okay, I don't want to use this anymore. So when we see that in other areas, like in the healthcare, AI is making this good for the world, I think it's when we will start in project management to try to adopt it. But as said before, so in project management, we are very, very, very in the preliminary steps. We are very far away from other industries or professions.
It is so hard to speculate about the future. What we do know is that there's been a seismic shift in the last year, primarily driven by the public-facing ChatGPT watershed moment. I just wonder what the next watershed moment would be. You mentioned two challenges, so change being one. What was the other?
The second challenge is, from a technical perspective, is the data. So you mentioned it. In weather, we have tons of data, but this is not common. So the availability of data we have related to weather is not for sure the availability of data we have in project management. So I don't know how many organizations you know that they are already having a project management, a data-centric culture. I don't think if you know much.
Well, I certainly, even those organizations that may feel that they're data centric, by the time you sort of get under the covers, it's not that. And again, it goes back to the sort of humanistic view that, we hadn't prioritized data. We'd sort of prioritizing providing a snapshot progress report at that moment in time. And that's changed as people come and go, and formats and definitions. So I totally agree with you. And those leaders will be the ones that are prioritizing the data, and it will give them competitive advantage, I believe, and
we're seeing that currently because not in project management, but in other areas where companies have been embracing a data-centric culture for years. These are the ones that now are making a good benefit of AI because they already did the homework in the past. So they have, because AI is not magic. So if you don't have the data, this is not it's learning from nothing. So you need data. So the companies that did the homework in the past are now the ones that are having a competitive advantage making use of AI, because even generative AI is based on data. So we think that we are chatting and we get information and that's magic. No, it's not magic. There's data behind that. For sure, machine learning, if you don't have data, most of the reasons for failure of machine learning use cases is the lack or the quality of data. So that's why this is AI is not the first step. So the first step is to have a data-centric culture and model and governance in order to be able to have data for adopting this. So one of the main challenges the companies are going to face, the ones that are thinking that, okay, let's go AI directly, not thinking about data, is that they're going to fail. Most probably, if they are not resilient enough and they don't think about, okay, let's go one step back and start working first on data, they are not going to succeed. But the companies that have been already working in a data-centric model culture, those ones are the ones that are having a great advantage.
Well, I love that. So anybody that is listening to that, please, stand up and take note of that conversation, in terms of getting yourself ready for today and for the future. I feel like we could keep talking. However, as you know, I like to try and keep these chats to a reasonable amount of time. So if there was a sort of rounding off our conversation, a takeaway for our listeners, what is it, Ricardo? What's the sort of key message you want to get across?
So for me, not only for this particular case of AI, for everything is start with why. So why I want to use AI. So start from your needs. So analyze what is the needs, what is your purpose, not just start from the technology because everybody is using the technology. So start with the why. And based on that why, establish your North Star vision with the different horizons. So okay, you have to start small, step by step. So, but don't stop at that. Think about the future. Think about go beyond what others are doing. So one of the main benefits we can get from AI is that there is a huge waste in project management. So every 10% of each dollar is wasted. So that means that around every year in the world, we're wasting due to poor project management around 4 trillion US, 4 billion US dollars. So that's huge.
Yeah.
So don't think just about getting templates. Think big. Okay, how can I contribute to reduce this gap, making use of AI? And think about all potential use cases from all the different layers, from the strategy definition, the strategy implementation, the portfolio management, program management. Think about everything. So that's the North Star. So just imagine reducing just 1% of the waste. So that's a major impact in the cost reduction that we are going to be able to get.
Absolutely, it's fantastic, and we've had a relatively short chat, but we've really covered the bases there in terms of thinking about the 3 different time horizons you were talking about, thinking about the challenge around people and data, and the value of what could be achieved, and I love the idea of the why and the think big as well. So just to say from my perspective, thank you so much for your time today. It's been
Thanks to you for the invitation.
Oh, brilliant. I look forward to keeping in touch. Take care now.
Sure. Take care. Bye-bye.